acceptance, the cost of migrating to EMV, even the cost of retraining your sales clerks for accepting all these different types of mobile wallets. But today, and in this session, we're going to talk about something slightly different, which is how do you drive revenue? And it turns out that you can use this amazing new technology, which is card linking, to use that same payments infrastructure that you have to all of a sudden drive sales. So we're going to talk about that today. We've got a great panel lined up for you, including Brendan McKechnie, who's to my immediate left, from Save Your Way, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships, Carlo Cardilli, who's in the center, Senior Business Leader for Merchant Loyalty at North America MasterCard, and Bruce Satley from Quotient, and you'll know their other brand name, which is Coupons.com, Senior Vice President of Corporate Development and Strategy. I'm going to hand it over to them to introduce themselves in just a moment. If you guys can give me a minute or two on each one of your companies. But before that, I want to share with you a really important concept that we're going to use throughout this panel, which is what is card linking? And if you think about card linking, it's really three simple steps, and you can see it right here on the slides. It's enroll, link, and pay. And the way card linking works is you take that existing plastic credit card, magstripe, EMV chip, and you take a picture of the numbers, or you type in the numbers, and you enroll that into a digital account. Now, more often than not, that's a mobile banking app from American Express or Bank of America or any large bank. But increasingly, there are actually these general purpose apps where you can link your card. It could be your Facebook account, could be your Samsung Pay wallet, or it could be Apple Pay. So the first step is the consumer takes their existing card and links it to a digital account. Then every time they open up that mobile app, they're being targeted, they're being delivered a personalized offer. We actually just heard the prior presenter talk about that. Payments is typically at the end of the transaction. Now, by linking your card to this digital account, you get to be present up front before the transaction ever happens in a very personalized and targeted way. So huge opportunity in the link stage. And then the third step is really where that magic happens. As a consumer, you walk into one of the stores represented here, and you take out your existing card, or you take out your mobile phone, and you just pay. And in real time, that discount or loyalty benefit is being applied. No need for a paper coupon, no need for a second loyalty card. It just happens in real time. And the amazing thing that's happened in the last 36 months is every one of the major payment networks has now opened up their data stream in real time so that you as a merchant can benefit from that to actually deliver a message to your consumer in the store before the receipt prints out saying, you just got an offer from me, Sears. You just got an offer from me, Target. So that's really the magic here. Great power for the merchant, personalized offer tailored just for that consumer, and you give them an opportunity to enroll and discover that offer before they're even at your store. But importantly, as we'll see, you can actually trace the ad that you pay for to an actual in-store transaction. And that's something that you can't do with any of your other marketing channels. Trace that online ad to an in-store purchase. And then, as I mentioned, consumers love it because it's happening in real time, and they didn't need to do anything else. They didn't need to bring in a paper coupon, a loyalty card. It's real magic. By the way, this is why we're seeing card linking transactions surge. Our data that we do a research poll every year of all the biggest players in the industry, card linking transactions on a year-over-year basis are growing at about 50%. And that's not just in the US, that's around the world. So we're going to be exploring this in the panel, delving deeper into it. And when we say the term card linking, this is what we mean: enroll, link, and pay. So with that, I want to hand it off to our panelists to introduce themselves, and I'm going to take you through a few more slides before we get to questions. But we want this to be interactive, particularly since it's the end of the day. So get your questions ready. I have a few questions for the panelists, but I'll let you guys do the rest. So let's start with you, Brendan.
Brendan McKechnie with Shop Your Way. Here with Jill Yates, one of my friends and associates, waving her hand here. And in her parlance, because she's from Louisville, Kentucky, I've been having a blast here, but y'all speak a foreign language to me. This is amazing. I'm learning MPAs and we were joking outside, I was joking with Carlo that DPAN and PAN and EMV and all this, it's great to learn your language. So thank you for having us here. I've spent my career in the loyalty coalition space, and as Carlo called it, you know, we're ad tech guys talking with payment people. So thank you for sharing your language with us. We have a member base of over 50 million active Shop Your Way members.
Did you say 50?
50.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, 50 active, and that means that they've earned or burned the Shop Your Way points currency in the last 12 months. And so we're here, Jill and I, to seek opportunities to surround our member with more earning opportunities in their everyday path to purchase. As they're voting with their credit card, we want them to vote with their credit card and choose the merchants that are offering Cardlinx offers to them for Shop Your Way points earning opportunities.
Great, thank you. Carlo.
Hi everybody, I'm Carlo Cardilli. I run merchant loyalty for MasterCard for the US and Canada. We call it North America. Maybe a geography lesson, but that's fine. As Brendan was saying, I'm a startup ad tech guy. I've been with MasterCard for 4 years since the acquisition of the company I was at. What we focus on is helping merchants find new customers and sell more through the power of the data that we have at our warehouse, all done real time and programmatically. You know, the key of it, we have folks like Brendan with essentially a huge affiliate network, 50 million users. How can we bring the affiliate network into the real world, into physical commerce? And the same way that you could track and monetize an online affiliate, we want to do that in the physical world.
Thank you. Bruce.
I'm Bruce Satley. I'm SVP of Corp Dev and Strategy at Quotient, also known as Coupons.com. That's our consumer brand. Company's been around 19 years, I think. We went public a couple years ago. We're best known as a pioneer in bringing CPG coupons online, so stuff you normally get in the newspaper, and bringing that online. Originally, it was print at home, so you could go to the printer. Today, that's driven primarily through loyalty cards or other digital means. So we pioneered that space. During that time, we built up a very sizable consumer footprint. So you know, we have well over 20 million active users on our owned and operated. We have a very sizable affiliate network that we also run. So we built up a three-legged stool of partnerships with retailers and brands, publishers, and also our owned and operated, all centered around a platform for delivering what we would call promotions. In that course, we broadened out from CPG to what we call specialty retail and restaurants. So that would include, the traditional retailers that are probably most prevalent here. Although we do have strong partnerships with the likes of Ahold and Walgreens and Safeway Albertsons and SEG and a bunch of others in the grocery space.
Great. Well, thanks for that. And we're going to jump into a few questions here. But before that, I just want to set the stage. What's amazing to me is the Cardlinx Association has been around a little less than 3 years, but the scale that's been accomplished now with this technology. I mean, you heard 50 million from Shop Your Way. MasterCard, which is one of the founding members of the association, has over 2.3 billion cards. And I think, Bruce, you said 20 or 30 million in your business. Not all card linked.
Yeah, not all card linked. It doesn't count our retail partnerships.
Right.
So
right.
Our Walgreens are 80 million. Right? It's crazy.
So the cool thing is that there is an amazing amount of coordination, though, that needs to occur, right? So the cool thing about coming to a conference like this is you see all these amazing merchants. What we've built within the Cardlinx Association, where I am the CEO, is we've built the interoperability around these different segments, which historically have not actually worked that well together. So we've got the leading publishers. These are companies that are at scale, publishing an offer, showing an offer to a consumer. Companies include Microsoft, Facebook, Rakuten, the banks themselves, the issuers themselves, American Express. We've got the leading Cardlinx technology providers there. You can see many of them in the second column. And then third, the payment processors, the guys that are embedded with your point of sale systems, they're all members. And then finally, our fastest growing group, which are actually companies in the room, retailers. Bosch, Under Armour, Airbnb, some of the CPGs like General Mills, but other companies that you don't see up here, they're members of companies like Hilton, Chevron, etc. And then finally, the payment networks. They, as I mentioned a moment ago, have all taken great pains to make available to merchants one of their most valuable assets, which is data, right? Real-time data, so that you can actually deliver a value proposition to your consumer in the store in real time. So the mission of our association, which is a nonprofit association, is to bring these groups together to promote interoperability, to drive standards, to get them together in conferences just like you have here, and importantly to provide services to them so that they can work together. And as a result, the industry has grown very, very rapidly. And so if you don't have a card linking program or a card link to offer and market as a merchant, you should look at this technology because it's revolutionizing your payments infrastructure, enabling your payments to move from just a cost center to actually now helping you to drive revenue. That's the key here. And if you don't listen to what anything else the panelists say, that's the thing that you should take away. How do you can use now your payments infrastructure, not just as a cost, but actually driving revenue. And when we ask merchants what is the thing that they like about card linking the most, it's very interesting. The number one thing they tell us is card linking enables me to measure incremental sales. Not only does it help me drive incremental sales, I can actually tell down to the penny, down to the transaction, that I actually drove an incremental purchase. And that's what the advertising game is all about. What's driving this industry, though, are three key trends, and then I'm going to cover these, and then we're going to jump right into questions. Three key things are really driving this industry. As we know, and we talk about this at MAG events all the time, there's an enormous amount of innovation and change that's going on in retailers and merchants all over the world. And interestingly, we host conferences all over the world, but every place we go, these three things always come up. One, mobile, right? That's changing how you interact with your consumers. Number two, the amount of data. It's huge amounts of data, and it's only increasing. How do you use that data often spells the difference between success and challenges for a merchant. And third, privacy. Yes, there is a lot of data, but how you use it is very important, and you need to be able to deliver a sense of security to your consumers that you're using their data well. Now, it turns out that this card linking technology is a very, very powerful platform to harness all three of these forces. From a mobile perspective, in 2014, for the first time, we had more mobile phones on planet Earth than we had people. That happened for the first time in 2014. That's over 7.4 billion mobile phones in 2014. Okay, that's a big number. But then wait, look at what's underneath mobile. It's the internet of what we call the internet of commerce things. And what that means is that as big a number as 7.4 billion seems, over the next 10 years, forecasters say that we will have well over 50 billion internet-connected devices. 50 billion, right? Every one of those devices is a platform for commerce. Whether it's your mobile phone, whether it's the jacket you wear, whether it's the watch that you wear on your wrist. How many of you have an Apple Watch here? Right. Every one of you guys has the ability to transact with that watch. How many of you have a Samsung watch here? A little love here. Oh, good one here. Okay. A little love for Samsung. But those watches all have the power to transact. And every one of those devices is an opportunity to engage in commerce. And we call that the Internet of Commerce things. Everyone talks about the Internet of Things. That's interesting. But what is really powerful is the Internet of Commerce things. Second key point, all that data presents an opportunity for you as a merchant to really present a different world. And as we're seeing all sorts of new technologies are being deployed. One of the ones that's my favorite is virtual goggles, where you can actually start to overlay different types of data for the consumer in real time to have a very different shopping experience. And third, artificial intelligence, which comes out of this privacy trend. All of a sudden, once the consumer is opted in, you have an opportunity to create a private shopping experience for them. And we're starting to see a lot of companies launching these new private experiences through chatbots, right? How many of you guys have launched or looked at launching a chatbot yet? Okay. Nobody really? Nobody here from Whole Foods? Okay, Whole Foods is one of our members that just recently launched their first commerce chatbot. So basically, the chatbot is a robot that knows how to interact with the person on social media to enable them to purchase something. Amazon has also launched a product in this space called Alexa. So that is a huge new frontier. So we're having actually a big conference on this on October 13th in San Francisco. So what's really fascinating is central to all of this is the card linking technology. It harnesses the mobility, it harnesses the data, it harnesses the private shopping experience that you guys are all creating. So that's a little bit of the future. So with that, Brendan, you guys have been among the most successful in launching a program like this at scale. Can you talk a little bit about your strategy in launching the Shop Your Way program? How did it start? And how did you bring it to the scale that it has? And then I'll come back with a follow-up, which is, how do you believe card linking as a technology has improved the shopping experience, both for the merchants that participate as well as the consumers? But first, just a little bit of background on how did it get started? How did you go to 50 million?
So it was launched in 2009 as Sears and Kmart loyalty program. And I remember joining it in 2009. I was in Battle Creek, Michigan, going to see Kellogg, competing with my friend at Coupons.com at the time. And they did a great job of rolling it out. So it has legacy. They grew it to over 100 million members, 50 million of those active now today. And the pivot that we've taken in the last year and change is that we want to create a coalition marketing platform out of it. And that's the realization that as a Sears and Kmart loyalty program alone, it's interesting. But if we can take the points currency, the Shop Your Way points currency, and externalize it to make the points more relevant to the member in their everyday life, then the points currency has more meaning to them and it has more velocity. And card-linked offers play a central role in that, meaning there's a syndicate of card-linked offers that are out there in the space today, and we want to harness the power of great brands that are external to Sears and Kmart in Land's End and put our member in a path to earn offers in Shop Your Way points currency when they link their card with us and transact with you, the merchants. So we've been doing that for over a year with Burger King and 1-800-Flowers and many others. And what we've learned, Silvio, and I think that's the second part of your question, is that the Shop Your Way member who has a card linked in their profile is dramatically more engaged in our program. And so to the extent that they're higher spenders, they're higher transactors, for example, at the 10 plus tripper level, those that have transacted with us and our partners in this fiscal year, which is 8 months going for us, they're 2.5 times more likely than a non-card linked member to hit that threshold. And they're 3.5 times more likely to be part of our top echelon VIP program. They earn Shop Your Way points 3 times more than non-card linked members and burn them 7 times more than non-card linked members. So we know that card linked works. It's nascent for us. We've done these direct card link deals with Burger King and 1-800-Flowers and others. And now Jill and I, and primarily Jill, is leading the charge in going out to speak with other merchants to harness that power for them.
Great, thank you for that insight. So, you see up on the chart, mobile, data, privacy, as you talk about engagement, what we've heard from Cardlinx is it's a mobile-first platform. Consumers enroll typically using their mobile phone. They get they discover the offers primarily using their mobile phone, and then they get the redemption information primarily using their mobile phone. And then these offers, again, are targeted based on data, which is the second key thing you see, right? Your location information from your phone, and then also your spending history. And third, most importantly, it's a private experience. The consumer typically is opting in, like you got 50 million of your cardholders to do. So it's a great platform, but it's only great in as much as it produces return for the merchant, right? And so, Carlo, the question I have for you is, you work with a lot of different banks and merchants, and you actually have access to the data that proves the ROI. And so, is this like a smoke dream, or
No.
Is there actual data showing the ROI for these programs?
There's lots of data. In fact, a whole lot of it is on our website. So any of you who care to check mastercard.com, you can just type in ROI. You'll find lots of interesting stuff. But I'll talk about a super simple program that we ran for a major gas retailer. And it wasn't rocket science. It was really simply 3% always on, 5% off on every gas purchase. All you had to do was, click that box and say, I want it. So we automatically filtered out everybody who wasn't interested, and we just focused on those guys who were price sensitive. And amazingly, what happened is the share that gas company's sales to that pool of customers went from 13% before the program started to 27% in 12 months of operation of the program. So they basically doubled the market share. And it cost them about 3.7% of sales for that group. So amazing ROI. Very simple program, no rocket science. It was simply, hey, I'll give you just a little bit off. But you're able to isolate the customers who care. You give them a differentiated value proposition, and they just switch all their spend over. Very simple. ROI was about $4.50 for every dollar invested into the program.
Wow. Is that, you talked about a gas station network. I mean, do you see that across industries? Or
Yeah, look,
just...
I think the important thing, and sort of Bruce and I were talking about it before we started, the design of the program, has to vary very much by vertical. So if you're a gas station or like a gas station operator, you're working with very different margins than if you're like a Michael Kors or a Tory Burch, who have different kind of margins, different kind of clientele, different kind of offerings. So if you're in the gas retailing, everyday spend, you got a repeating habit, somebody has to gas up with you 3 or 4 times a month, a 3% to 5% always on is a great kind of construct for a gas company. If you're a high-end retailer and somebody's going to come in and drop a couple $100, then you really have to think of a program where the values has to be a little bit more eye-catching. So you might be thinking of 50 off the 250 kind of spend.
Great insight.
Silvio, I can support that in the sense that we have a QSR partner who is a high transaction category, and we've driven 37% spend lift. Simply by introducing a Cardlinx program. Those members that transacted with this merchant before increased their spend 37%.
And that's on a year-over-year basis? So you're looking at the same control group a year ago versus current?
That's
right. Wow.
Yeah, actually, one point to the data, and I think this makes us very different from the other sort of folks you might work with, merchants, is if you participate in one of these affiliate networks, so to speak, we can provide to you the full attribution, transaction date, amount, last 4 digits of the cardholder, and then you can do all the matching back to your CRM system, tag the transaction in your CRM as having come from one of the programs that we power, and then you can also do all your own calculations that you're in and dump it into whatever you can dump it in, and come up with your own ROI. Big difference from what's available through, I would say, your typical AdWords, where you have to kind of believe their numbers and believe what they tell you.
Yeah. Bruce, let me pull you in here. Quotient works with a lot of different retailers. You help them with engagement. branding. When it comes to card linking, what are some of the key strategies that a merchant should be thinking about from an engagement and actually specifically loyalty perspective, right? Because I mean, one of the crazy things about these phones is we've got them with us all the time, right? I remember getting my mobile phone and swearing I'm never going to put it next to my bed and keep it on at night. That's kind of spooky. Now I do that every night because it's my alarm clock too. So we've got these things everywhere all the time, and especially when we're shopping. How do you use this to drive engagement and loyalty with Cardlinx offers?
Right, so I think there's, I think it may be two different ways. One would be long-term loyalty, like you mentioned, and actually we've spoken to previously here, but also in the realm of, let's say, for example, introducing new products, right? Introducing new products is actually really hard. Most of our clients, those things have 60, 90 days on shelf, and if they don't make it, they don't make it. So if, in those examples, it's all about coordination, right? It's about how do you get not just the right offer, right? Not the right monetary value, the right construct for a Cardlinx offer, but also how do you line up the right ad campaign, media buy? How do you line up the right merchandising at shelf? How do you line up the right customer service if that's important in the business, right? It varies greatly based on the vertical you may be in, but there's drastically different success stories based on just simple merchandising changes where the offer is actually visible at shelf. Can be massively different in terms of success, right? In terms of loyalty, again, it varies a lot by vertical. For example, in grocery or in gas, very repeat purchase. It's about share of wallet and about what can you really get to get the top of wallet for that particular card. Secondly, if you're in restaurants or luxury brands, then you have a very different problem of how do you balance equity with value, right? So most brands don't want to drive value too hard because they feel like being too promotional is going to drive a behavior that they don't particularly care for. So there's a balance on how do you segment the customer base, how do you drive a differentiated messaging, and then use the data in subsequent programs and offers so that you're not conditioning the base.
Let's continue along that line, loyalty, and also how you can leverage the mobile platform. What are your thoughts? I mean, we have. I was talking about the 7.4 billion mobile phones going to 50 billion internet-enabled devices. How do you use the mobile phone to drive card linking and loyalty specifically? I mean, for example, can you do card linking without having a mobile platform?
Can, yeah. Well, I'll share as a publisher in this ecosystem
Yeah.
that Silvio explained. We view ourselves as a publisher of these offers. So we have web-enabled and mobile-enabled, but I will give to you that the Shop Your Way mobile experience today is not optimized. We're working on it. But
Nobody,
remember, she can.
Every panel I've ever been in says the same thing, so don't worry about it.
It's table stakes to say that you're still trying to figure it out, but we really are. And our member can register a card in the mobile wallet, so it's fully enabled. But I think to your point, she doesn't need to pull out our app because the card is linked to her profile. We're going to get a ping from the networks telling us that card transacted at a merchant that is provisioned to be part of our reward platform. And we're going to reward her account. And the most important thing about mobile, though, and I think, Silvio, what you're suggesting is that we want to immediately SMS text her a notification that she just earned 2,000, 5,000 Shop Your Way points at Whole Foods or at Panera Bread or at Dunkin'. And that we've learned that immediate notification that you just earned points is incredibly powerful. So we're doing that through email today. If she's not carrying her mobile device, you're going to get an email from us saying you just earned a Burger King. But the mobile device is so much more powerful. Plus, in the path to purchase, if she's considered purchase, or if she's in the considered purchase set for a QSR transaction, she might look at the Shop Your Way app to learn if there's a QSR option for her to earn a Cardlinx offer points opportunity. So it's very important in the path to purchase too, and you can't do that with web.
I think there's there's a fundamental design of a program question on, are you a rebate style program where you're getting 5% off of all transactions? Or are you an offer-driven program where the consumer has to take an action because the brand or the retailer wants the interaction? They don't want the heartbeat. They want the spikes. So they want to heavy up and go after promotional periods. They don't want to provide a constant rebate. So there's a design choice from the very beginning on how you want to approach a program. Which one do you prefer and why according to your brand?
Is mobile more or less appropriate for the 1% versus the spike? Which one do you say, if you're going for the spike, go for mobile, or do you say if you're going for the 1%?
Well, I don't think you can't avoid mobile.
I don't think it's a choice.
It's not a choice,
Yeah,
okay.
that ship has sailed.
Okay.
Anything that can go mobile will go
Yeah.
mobile. Look, I was looking at some numbers on the way down on the plane. Facebook, right? And what's good for Facebook is good for America, to paraphrase an old slogan. 84%.
If you're a Facebook shareholder.
I'm a Facebook shareholder right here. 84% of Facebook's advertising revenue came from mobile last quarter. 84%. It's over.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of the positive things of card linking, huge ROI, engagement with the consumer. From a merchant perspective, it's easy to implement. What are the tough bits? Like, what are the challenges in terms of implementing a card link program? And Brendan, I'll go to you first because you're part of a very large merchant, but you also work with many merchants, so you know the merchant perspective. What are some of the key challenges in implementing a program like this?
So we're a merchant and we're a publisher. Speaking it from a merchant's lens, if I put that hat on, then, and I guess reflecting on that as a publisher, the onus on the publisher is to show that ROI.
Okay.
And so if we are not driving incrementality, then we fail you, the merchant. And we're owned by Sears Holdings Corporation, so we're also a merchant, and we're very sensitive to that. So I think that number one, it's being in a position as a publisher to demonstrate ROI. The second piece is just perfecting the user experience so that it's super simple to link a card, register a card, and to peruse the gallery of offers that may be always on offers, that 1%, or they are not the passive type of offer, but one where a merchant inserted it into our publishing network and demanded that, or dictated that the member has to activate the offer by a tap or click activity. And so just perfecting the user experience.